occurs when a player carrying the ball is held by one or more opponents. Then, one or more of the ball carrier's teammates bind on to the ball carrier. All the players involved are on their feet and moving toward the goal line. Open play has ended and a maul has been formed.
Welcome to the Meat and Potatoes podcast. I'm here with Clay Olson, who's the founder and CEO of Impact Suite. How are you?
Good.
Thanks for joining us all the way from Logan.
Yeah.
Good drive?
Great drive.
No semis overturned?
No.
Okay. That's good. All right. Tell the listeners, what is Impact Suite? Where did the idea come from?
Well, Impact Suite is, we provide digital health and wellness resources for individuals, but we also provide it for corporations as a health benefit for their employees. So we have tools that focus on depression, anxiety. We have tools that focus on chemical dependency, sexual compulsivity, and personal growth and improvement. So we're very focused on helping employers take a better approach to mental health. We want to look at the social determinants of health. We want to look at what are the root contributors of some of these challenges that we're all facing today, more than ever before. And by providing very accessible, anonymous resources that can help individuals that are just wanting to level up and improve, as well as helping those that are really suffering and struggling day to day, we help on the whole spectrum of that sequence. And so, yeah, we're passionate about helping people at these challenging times.
Okay, interesting. The anonymous part's very cool. I'm sure we'll hit on that a few times, but give us a few examples. So there's 4 of them, right?
Yeah, so Impact Suite represents 4 individual and unique tools and apps. 4 to 5 focuses on sexual compulsivity, which was our first because that kind of derived from the nonprofit that I had founded years ago, Fight the New Drug. And then we saw that we could develop more resources for more individuals in other areas of struggle. So we developed Lift for depression and anxiety, Turn for chemical dependency, and Climb for personal growth and wellness.
Okay, interesting. So with the anxiety and depression, I'm sure some people felt anxious, the last 16 months.
Yeah.
Give us an example of how they might interact with the tool.
Well, all the tools take a similar architecture of providing individuals the ability to learn, connect, and track. So we provide hundreds of lessons and meditations and help people identify some of the contributors or risk factors that they're dealing with in their life. A lot of people, they want to fix, help me not feel this way, help me improve this category of my life. But to do so, any professional will say, well, in order to do that, so we need to look at you holistically. We need to look at all the driving forces in your life, looking at in things like sleep, exercise, and nutrition, the people recognize, but also your meaning and purpose and your relationships and a variety of other categories that the literature has identified as being primary lifestyle categories. As we look at those, we can start to recognize some of the areas that might be contributing to your struggle. And so we want to help you identify those and then provide you the ability to improve those categories, reducing your collective vulnerability or risk. And we're seeing profound results as individuals do that. We recognize that, medication plays a role, and a lot of people need medication, but we often turn too frequently to that and as a long-term crutch. And we want to say there's a better way. And as we look at these, we can actually help people find long-term sustainable healing and do it in a way that provides them, again, that learning category, connection with other individuals by providing them access to a community global community of individuals that are on the same path of recovery or healing. And then help you connect with coaches that are lifestyle focused and specific to categories like finances and sleep and exercise. And then help you track that and visualize improvements over time. So we have a variety of ways that people are tracking their improvements to kind of see the trajectory of change over time.
Interesting. Yeah, one of the bummers in life is if it's worth doing, it's probably a little bit hard, and it's not like that.
Yeah, here's the pill.
Yeah.
Let me just go with that. We want to help people get deeper than that.
Yeah, so kind of the root cause
We don't
Okay.
want to be the Band-Aid. We want to be the solution.
All right. All right. So somebody is down a little bit or anxious about something, they'll interact with the tool and they'll be able to measure progress, which
Yes.
is important.
Oh, yeah. They can measure, they can visualize, they can see it, they can recognize what different lifestyle categories are most closely tied to your overall well-being. So you can see as perhaps you're getting less, not as good sleep recently, or your relationships aren't as strong. You can see how that corresponds to your overall well-being over time. And then, build strategies around improving those over time. And for those that need more help, there's a self-guided component to this, but for those that need help, they can connect with one of our specialized lifestyle coaches in a variety of different categories of lifestyle. And then if they really need professional care, we also have therapists that can meet with them, and they can schedule that anonymously without having to talk to HR, without having to kind of find something. They can just click, schedule an appointment, and boom, they're talking to a therapist and getting that extra professional care.
Yeah, very cool. So the anonymous side probably helps a ton because people don't want to admit, or there's still stigmas, right?
Yeah, a lot of people don't dare, particularly in corporate environment, they don't dare talk to their manager or their HR because they fear that it might, taint, the way that they view them or limit their ability to progress or rise up in the company. And so they just kind of stay silent and kind of white knuckle through challenging times. But by making it anonymous, by making it incredibly accessible, which is a focus of ours, we're able to see adoption rates that are 5, 10, in some cases 20 times higher than traditional EAPs or employee assistance programs.
Yeah. So whether you work for a big company or a startup or anything in between, right? Like, what it's like to when somebody else is not operating at a high level. And sometimes without even being, a psychologist, you can kind of figure out, like, you're kind of just depressed.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to say, but you're kind of dragging everybody else down because, like, you're going slow. And it's rough, right, to be on, the depressed or anxious side, but it's also rough for the other team members that might need you to be at 100%. So I'm assuming a lot of the tracking and tools and end results are helping these people be happier, but also back to, like, productive, and which is good for the bottom line, right?
Exactly. I mean, this is a win across the board for companies, for individuals, for families. We're seeing that individuals that engage with these tools, the average individual that engages, somewhat, we're seeing 21% decreases in depression levels, 25% decreases in anxiety levels. For individuals that are highly engaged, we're seeing 88% and 85% respectively decreases in those categories. So we're seeing enormous results. I think what's really hopeful in all of this is that a lot of people think when they think about mental health, when they think about improving their mental health or overcoming an addiction, they just see a Mount Everest in front of them that they don't know how to climb. It's just too daunting, too hard. And so they look for the easy fix. They look for, or they just kind of get deeper into that well. But the reality is, and the literature is so clear on this from major institutions around the country, that as we focus on small iterative changes in our lifestyle, the compounding and kind of catalytic ability for those to influence your mental health is profound. So, the most hopeful message we can say is, like, look, there are things that you can do, small, attainable things that you can do in your life that will have significant improvements in your overall well-being and your happiness. And let's help you identify those vulnerabilities. Let's help you make those small iterative changes so that we can put you on a much better path for long-term sustainable healing. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're seeing. Hundreds of thousands of individuals have engaged with our apps around the world, in over 150 countries. And we are seeing profound results with those individuals that engage.
That's great. So when you're engaging with the tool, it's on you, right? To kind of submit here's what I've eaten, or here's my sleep, or I just got in a good old fight with my spouse. Those are your inputs, and then the outputs are what you guys are building and working on to help them, right?
Yes. Yeah. So we want to kind of like partner with you in your mental health journey. And you don't just have to rely on us. In addition to the individuals that we have on our team to help you on the lifestyle and the therapist, we allow you to add allies, which is like a sponsor in AA, where you can add as many allies as you want. And those allies can be there all along the journey. That can communicate with you in a safe way, can visualize your change, and help you make improvements as well with their own training and their own portal.
Okay, so you've got two markets you got to marry up there. You've got the customers, right? The users, and then the specialists. Chicken or egg, cart before the horse. How do you make sure that there's enough helpers and enough customers?
Well, we started this whole journey direct to consumer. We started. That's where we built this whole thing. It was supporting individuals on their path to overcome different struggles or addictions, and our focus is still there, helping those individuals. Over time, we started to see the ability or the need to offer higher levels of care and support. The coaching through asynchronous messaging, and then therapy. And yes, that is an ever-growing kind of network of individuals that we're building as we build a customer base, and we have to kind of watch that. And we always have to be a little ahead of the customer base so that we can meet the demand. And that's not always, that's a constant tug of war balance to make sure you're hitting it, and we try to do our best at that. But we've kind of stumbled into providing mental health care to corporate America, to the workplace over time. We didn't start there. We started kind of the direct to consumer. So we're very passionate about that, and if employers can benefit from that, which we're seeing that they can, that all the better.
Yeah, very cool. So as the CEO of this type of company, you've got mental health and science and stats and data, and then you also have to make money, and you've got spreadsheets and investors and all of that. So where do you focus your time and efforts? How does a typical day look like for you?
A lot of my day is working with my incredible team, who just are incredibly skilled, and we've been building and growing that team. And I'm one of the, I'd say I'm a CEO that's very product focused. I'm very much in the weeds. I love working with them. I want to lean on the expertise where it exists, but I love the process of creating and building and improving the product. And as we grow, that I'll always kind of hold on to that to some degree. But a lot of my time is looking and working with our team, empowering them, giving them what they need to be able to achieve what they need, what they can, their full potential, so that we can grow the company accordingly. Yes, of course, we're looking at numbers. I'm dealing with investors. I'm dealing with partnerships and going around. But I love interacting in the types of things that I know will have a direct and tangible impact on the end user. That's what we're in it for. We're in it for, we want to make an impact. That's what our name is. We want to make an impact and a dent, and join all the other efforts that are out there that are supporting people. We want to join, link arms, and do whatever we can, because not one company can address this. No, not all the professionals in the world can address this. We've got to rise up and be innovative and work together.
Yeah. All right. So it sounds like kind of like the product, which is the button goes here and the flow goes here and the color here, right? Like in a poor man's version of that. So a new idea pops into your head either through data, or you're on the app yourself and you're using it, or your cousin gave you some feedback. How does that work with the engineers and the product folks to kind of tweak things?
Yeah, we have a process. We have a product team, and we hand it off to the product team. We look at the data. We validate some of the assumptions that we might have, and some of the ideas that come up, and we try to verify that with our user base. And then we hand it off to the product team, the UX team, and then they work through some iterations and see some options as to how that can play out. We then review that and we test what we can, and then we start to develop and deploy. So I would imagine our process is very similar to many others, but it's one that we try to rely as heavily on the data as possible. We don't want to, of course, any startup, you do what you can in the beginning, but as we've grown, we've tried to lean more and more on the data.
Yeah. So what are some examples of like your assumptions where, oh, this is going to be good? I just know it. And then the data shows opposite.
That it wasn't good. Yeah. So early on, we thought it would be great to have like a phone number to call a coach, to like talk to a coach on the phone. So not a therapist. This, a therapist would be something else, but just talk to like a recovery coach, a mental health coach. And we didn't see a lot of adoption. We assumed that it would be so great. Like, hey, wouldn't it be great to talk to a person?
Yeah.
But the data was showing that they just weren't engaging in that resource and in that particular feature. And we switched it to an asynchronous messaging with a variety of coaches that were identified in their specialized categories. So we actually recruited specifically like a sleep coach and an exercise coach and a nutritionist and a mindfulness coach and a mental health coach and a addiction recovery coach, all different people, very centered in their lane with asynchronous messaging. And we saw a significant improvement from that pivot. But our initial assumption was inaccurate.
Okay. That's got to be fun where you can see things and then tweak things and improve things. It's like a never-ending Saturday project, I guess.
Yeah.
Of the 4 tools that you guys have in the suite, which ones are most popular or used or downloaded?
Well, Lift for depression and anxiety is definitely a very a hot topic. It's something that a lot of people are struggling with. Fortify, interestingly enough, which was our kind of original product coming out of the nonprofit Fight the Drug, is we kind of separated the entities from the nonprofit awareness piece to providing the software on the healing, which was Fortify. Fortify has just been around the longest, and so it has quite a bit of adoption. But we just released Climb about 2 months ago, and Climb is kind of not coming from a deficit perspective. It's just a self-improvement, kind of level up in the same categories. And we're seeing a huge amount of adoption to that. So I would say right now, Fortify and Climb has the most explosive growth at this time because it's the newest.
Awesome.
But everyone's dealing with different things, and we want to provide this to individuals and their family members and kind of cover the bases. We intend to increase and add new products to the suite over time. These are the 4 that really address a lot of the issues that people are facing today.
Yeah. So you've mentioned a few times the literature and, the specialists, because there is science, right?
Yes.
There's brain chemicals and all sorts of stuff. Do you guys have anyone on your team that is focused on that aspect?
Oh yeah, we have PhDs on the team. We consult. We have a clinical advisory board with the professors and researchers and experts around the country that we work with to develop, some of the curriculum and content, but also some of the strategies that we're developing over time. So we lean heavily on the research and the expertise.
Interesting. All right. So the business model is to sell to the corporations and businesses. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then their employees will use it and adopt it.
Correct. So we offer the ability to kind of bundle them all together, premium access with the coaching, with the unlimited teletherapy for employers to offer, and it's an incredible resource. And we separated the apps into different apps versus one app to them all because we didn't want to be kind of the food court Chuckarama kind of version of this sport. We want a tribal, very focused support for these individuals in these areas, where they enter in and everything around the community, the content, everything is very focused on their particular struggle and need. And so by providing them access to the suite of products, it's a more comprehensive and more personalized journey as we help them identify those areas and then recommend improvements for them to take. So yeah, employees are loving it. Employees are engaging and family members are engaging, and it's really exciting to see the impact it's having.
Yeah. So there's certain CEOs that have to walk the talk. Like if you're the CEO of Ford, you can't drive a Chevy pickup to work, right? And for you, you know, with a focus on mental health and improving people's lives, how do you make sure that your ship is pointed in the right direction and you've got enough time and energy?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's a constant course correction, right? Like in life, I think that we're all, you know, we have good intentions of living good lives and having work-life balance and all that, and then, you know, things get away from us, and I face that no different than anybody else, and you know, so you know, tools that I've used multiple of you know different tools for myself at different times, and right now, climb has been something that I've engaged in, and you know, part of it is just driving the awareness for you to recognize where the areas of improvement need to be, but then helping you kind of make a more dedicated and focused effort to make those improvements. So yes, I need them. You know, I think we all can use them at times, and I'm grateful that something exists that we can lean on.
Yeah, absolutely. And then how long did it take for you guys to have enough data and runway to come up with some case studies that kind of show, look, this saves people at a high level, potentially even their lives, right? Like, but the bottom line, even if you're a callous CEO that could care less about mental health, it also saves your company a ton of money. How long did it take to have a case study or two?
Well, it took, we were able to develop some data after about 6 months of utilization for some companies. After a year, we're able to give a lot more rich ROI data. So in addition to, and that's one thing that's unique about us, we're not just providing the company, data around, hey, this is the utilization you've seen, which is great information, but it doesn't help you understand, well, what was the result of that utilization. So we actually help identify very categorically the improvements specifically in each category of these are the depression levels that have decreased, and this is the amount of your employees that are improving in this area. And this is what we're seeing in anxiety. This is what we're seeing in each of those wellness categories. And by doing so, we're able to kind of derive a return on investment. And in every case, companies are not only improving their overall company's well-being and their happiness and therefore productivity and decrease in absenteeism and less turnover, it's saving them money on medical spend as people are making improvements, lifestyle improvements that are reducing their need to turn to medicine or doctors or have those kind of emergency situations. So we've been able to show significant returns on investment as individuals spend $1 in preventative care. We're able to see $6, $7 of reduced expenditures. That's
great. And that would aid to the mental wellness of the CFO and CEO of these companies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. So you're obviously very passionate about this industry, mental health and improving people's lives. But what's got you most excited for your company as you build it out over the next 12 months?
We're working on some really exciting updates to our to the resources, to the tools that make the experience much more customized, much more personalized, much more game-changing type improvements to the curriculum and experience overall. And we're very excited about those. Again, coming back to the product improvement, we're always going to be iterating and improving to make it the most effective possible behavior change platform, period. And so we're very excited about that. We're very excited about some of the partnerships with individual companies, with providers that we're forging now, and just to see the scaling of some of the resources. As individuals reach out to us and tell us how much it's changed their lives and improved them, we gather those together and we develop an impact book every year about the kind of the changes. Because sometimes when you're dealing with software, you don't get to see the end result of someone's life changing.
Yeah.
So we aggregate that and we pull it together, and then provide that to our employees and investors and others to help them recognize, in addition to the data, help them recognize just how far-reaching it is. And it's not. We want to join the coalition of individuals fighting this. Whether you're an individual that's passionate, whether you have a software, whether you have a company, there is so much need here that we want to link arms. So it's not about championing necessarily our brand specifically. It's like we know we can help people, but there's a lot of things you can do to improve, and we want to be a part of that momentum in a good direction because we need it more now than ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And building it in Logan, Utah, right?
Logan, Utah. It's unprecedented, but we were recently acquired. So we were based in Salt Lake City for a number of years, and we were acquired by Maloof up in Cache Valley. Sam, Casey Maloof, we started talking. I was looking at them as a possible investor. They were interested in not only the product that we had and the company that we were building, but also some of the experience on the foundation side. And so we actually pulled it all together and brought it under one roof, and we've been building a team up there, and it's been beautiful and awesome.
Yeah. Well, congrats on all that. And I think it's great what your team's doing, and it's obviously much needed. We've had plenty of conversations over the last year and a half with our programming and content about mental health, and you guys are doing something about it. So thank you for joining us, Clay.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.